Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Muhammed Sinan from India, research student at Darul Huda Islamic University, belongs to its Department of Arabic Language and Literature. First of all, I would like to introduce the title of our paper, The History of Arabic Grammar and Morphology. Means the historical ways passed within Arabic grammar world, the contribution it deserved, the emergence of new rules and principles, the outburst of new discipline named morphology, the rise of new linguistic scholars, the acceptance and popularity it faced, positive and negative waves it addressed, outburst of a new modern of schools, etc. and etc. are the objectives of our paper History of Arabic Grammar and Morphology. Here we go, guys. Let me be back with our topic. The subject matter of our specialized paper is Lisanul Arab, complementary analysis for Ibn Manzur's lexicography with critical mentions. The one and only introduction to be given with this subject is the significance of words in our day-to-day life, how words influenced our communications, conservations, compositions, lectures, eruditions, learning, studying, academicians, etc. and etc. And also how the modern trend deals with the science of words. Okay, guys, all of us know the necessity and requirement of the contemporary world to the reality of words. There was a time when the words were discovered from the being of nothing. Gradually, when the words came to the mainstream of a new branch of knowledge known as linguistics, it proved its own necessity and demanded a safe and high void and a scope space for its own existence among other branch of studies. Here, the scientists of the words, in other words, all the linguistic scholars, made a safer science for the words. Within that, there was formed a new branch of studies known as lexicography. His guess is the subject matter to be revealed here. Lexicography. What do you mean by lexicography? Lexicography is the art or process of compiling dictionaries. And the person who doing this art is known as, naturally, the lexicographer. And did you ever think of the word lexicography and its relevance with this subject matter, guys? Yes, it's nothing more than its importance. Here I would like to share with you the history behind the being of lexicography. So let me proceed. In 4 to 7 centuries, amidst these centuries, there was a great vacuum of knowledge. Knowledge was nothing because knowledge is incomplete without words. And it's an interesting fact that the word knowledge itself is a word. So the necessity of the world to the words is an inevitable factor. And in the sudden outburst of 8th century, Khalil ibn Ahmad al-Farahidi, the prominent linguistic scholar, lexicographer, the man of tremendous views, he introduced his first dictionary on lexicography named as Kitab al-Ain. Kitab al-Ain created many positive waves in the world of lexical art. It's the opener book for the lexical text all over the world I have ever seen later. In 9th century, they also produced many dictionaries in the lexical world. And similarly, in 10th century, 11th century, 12th century, 13th century, and in 14th century, here is our superhero of lexical text. Take his helm with our research. Yes, guys, it's Ibn Manzur, sometimes known as Ibn Mukarram. Predominantly, he was known as Muhammad bin Mukarram ibn Ali Dilwan bin Ahmad bin Abil Qasim bin Haqba bin Manzur al-Ansari al-Firiqi al-Misri Jamaluddin Abul Fali, who born 630 Hijra and died 711th Hijrah. He was born in Tunis of South Africa, was a brilliant scholar and along with a brilliant professionalist who worked for the Secretariat of Mamluk rulers of Egypt of that era. And later, he served as the judge of the Tripoli movement. And finally, he spent his last years of age in Cairo. Cairo, the knowledge city of Arabic knowledge, Arabic lexicography, Arabic morphology, Arabic science of words. Don't you know Al-Azhar University of Cairo? Yes, as we know, Cairo is being considered as the center of Arabic language and its origin, its history, its heritage, and so on, guys. And let it go away and come back to our point. What's the relevance of Lisanul Arab in the Arabic lexicography? Here is our subject matter. What's the relevance of Lisanul Arab in the broad sense of Arabic lexicography? As proven by statements of ulamas, Lisanul Arab is considered as the comprehensive and wider and deeper dictionary the world has ever seen before and after 14th century. The main feature of the book is its intensity in its volumes. There are 15 volumes, for Ibn Manzur's Lisanul Arab. And also the Lisan is considered as the masterpiece of Ibn Manzur. To claim Lisanul Arab belongs to Ibn Manzur is only his lexical art of Lisanul Arab. Even though, also to our surprise, he had written more than 500 plus handwritten books within his educational life, who went blind, to our surprise, who went blind in his old ages. Okay, our great statement of this research is that Lisanul Arab, which aimed at fullness, not brevity, which was regarded as an exhaustive work until modern times. It means, or in other words, Lisanul Arab deserves complementary and critical analysis simultaneously as per our moments of research is going on. Ask me guys, why? Why Lisan deserves compliments and critiques at the same time? This is our subject matter. And additionally, I would like to inform you that our research, this is going through 3 stem of statements. And first of one is the compliments and acceptance received within the lexical art of Lisanul Arab. And the second one, a comparison between Lisanul Arab and its same age Tajul Arus. And the third one, the critical mentions and critical rebuttals faced by Lisanul Arab as a dictionary. So what methodology adopted by Ibn Manzur in this dictionary? Simply, we can define its methodology is its depth and width in the exact mention of Quranic and Hadith verses as clear evidence for one and each words. And guys, it was a great opener. It was a great opening game from the part of Ibn Manzur in order to create a great space, and the word history is more applicable in this case in order to create a new history in a lexical world. It was also a canning moment from Ibn Manzur, never seen before and after. The vivid and clear mentions of evidences from Quran and Hadith was the varied peculiarity of this dictionary. And also, you can see many articles many elongated Arabic articles given within the lexicon of each and every words, each and every chapters, each and every volumes. In order to create a dictionary, in order to create an encyclopedia, yes, it was a correct answer here. Ibn Manzur was trying to create an encyclopedia of words of Arabic language. I was trying to gather all the rules and regulations, all the sciences and all the disciples come along with the Arabic lexicography and Arabic morphology under a text. Simply, as our research finds that he won the game. Although he receives critiques from others, other prominent scholars, our research finds that he won the game. He won his dictionary. He won his art. He won in the world of lexical field. Simply, we can christen him as a virtuoso. He is a virtuoso, guys. Proved virtuosity in creating a modern dictionary. Do you know what Ahmad Faris al-Shiddiaq remarked on his book about Ibn Manzur's lexicography? It's a book of lexicography, jurisprudence, grammar, accidents, hadith explanation, and Quranic commentary. What words? Simply, we can demonstrate that he deserved it. And an Arabic interpreter, an Arabic lexicographer of 1960, Haywood John described him in its article of Arabic lexicography, its history and its space in the general history of lexicography. He's describing Ibn Manzur's work as it's a veritable storehouse of Arabic language, science and arts. Yes, guys, we have our aforementioned a word modern dictionary. He's proven a modern dictionary in the field of lexical art. But why? But why he is facing or he is being faced many critics against his work? That's what we have going to talk the rest. Occasionally, I would like to quote the thinkable quotation of Haywood in his article of Arabic lexicography. He's saying that he is an compiler, not a thinker. He was not an original mind even in the field of lexicography in which he excelled. He is saying so that because, guys, Ibn Manzur's lexicography, which is known as in the form of Lisanul Arab, is not the content of his own thoughts, because he just imitated or just copied from other 5 authentified references from the Arabic language. Other 5 prominent references of Arabic language, namely Tahdhib al-Lugha of al-Azhari, al-Muhkam wal-Muhit al-Azim of Ibn Sida, Taj al-Lugha of al-Hujwari, Ibn Barai's commentary on the Taj, and al-Nihaya of al-Athar. These 5 comprehensive references was the base of the composition of Lisan al-Arab. Here to be added with is that his Ibn Manzur's simplicity within his art. Because he never claimed just like saying that I spoke to, I invented, that I transmitted to, or I set out, I traveled to, I found, I spoke with. He never used these kinds of usage within his composition of dictionary, because simply he never deserved it. He never deserves it because he only compiled a dictionary and never created it. This is the main base root of the critics he was facing even now. The second phase of fault of critics come with his denial of following the examples of Al-Nihaya and Al-Barai's commentary. Because when he just imitated or just copied their contents, he never followed the examples they have given in their own texts. Instead, he brought new ideologies here. His own findings from Quran, Hadith, poetries, anthologies, compendias, etc., from his own personal thoughts. And furthermore, it being a mixture of originality and his own introduction, the issue came to be controversial. That is the main reason for receiving these types of critics. And occasionally I would like to share with you a justification I come across or come against with the question why he compelled, why he limited. Why which was still limited or compiling such a dictionary? Why not he created it? Yes, it is justified by Haywood John in his Arabic lexicography, as he says that, and it also the truth way. Even though Tahrib and Muhkam were two great lexicographical works, they were poor in arrangement and rich in content, both are contradictional. Poor in arrangement and rich in content. Strictly to readers, its behavior to readers was very strict and firm, tough to analyze, and meanwhile comprehensive in content. Okay. People confused biliteral terms, triliteral terms, quadrilateral terms, quinquiliteral terms, they doubled, they doubly weaked, and all kinds of words come along in the language of Arabic. Whenever people confuse with this pure arrangement, he just strengthened or straightened this path by compiling these confused areas to his work, just like an innovation. In one word, he just solved these unsatisfactory arrangements. Okay, and traditionally Nihaya too failed in his arrangement and also in its distinguishal of letters of increase from radicals, and Nihaya put some words in wrong places. He just solved it too. And our research finds that Ibn Manzur, the famous lexicographer of 14th century, the famous philologist of Arabic Egypt, never failed in creating a dictionary. He won't creating history. He won't creating a new lexicon to the lexicography. Admirable, praisable, appreciable, innovative, and a great leading movement towards the contributions of Arabic lexicography. The interesting fact within the dictionary is that the Chinese edition of Lisan is the world's most copied dictionary. The world's most copied dictionary the world has ever seen yet. Just think, guys, the copy of dictionary and its intensity says us that the world till and still needs to his work Arabic lexicography, Lisanul Arab. That's why it was known as earlier the tongue of the Arabs. Okay. So let me conclude my presentation by mentioning the slight comparison between Lisanul Arab and Tajul Arus. Nothing more to say that because both are arts of two prominence, and both have their own defects and both have their own merits. But as William Lane said in his article, frequently it happens that an explanation is essentially the same in the Lisanul Arab and Tajul Arus, but more full or more clear in the former means Lisanul Arab. Lisanul Arab is more clearer and or vivid in its content. That's the view of Edward William Lane. And the French analyzer, the French lexicographer Haywood John, he is also saying that Lisanul Arab contains 8,000 characters, Tajul Arus with its 1,20,000 characters. However, it's comparatively deficient in its illustrative examples. The same book says that though William Lane may have favored Tajul Arus, the Lisan is still the major reference. He is still referring and preferring Lisanul Arab in his extended version of Arabic lexicography. So let me conclude. The researcher finds that Ibn Manzur's lexicography created positive waves in lexicology and revealed a new phase for dictionary never seen before, never after. And magnitudes of critics as it remains as a mere compiled longer text. Remarks that his compiling consumption is admirable because knowledge is claimed for common people too, and not only for scholars, especially lexical eruditions. As they are inevitable in compositions and conservations. Eventually, our research claims that Ibn Manzur won untying complications of his own predecessors. So we are concluding by demonstrating that Lisanul Arab is undoubtedly recognizable as Ibn Manzur's masterpiece, which overwhelmed its negativities with its own deeper strength. All the critics are mere critics and not the authentified statements of deterioration towards his lexicography. Okay, thank you guys. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.